Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhaktivedānta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhaktivedānta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupāda Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Patadasha Raghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namachay Shri Hari Ras Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaura Mandal Vraja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kun Shama Kun Ki Jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. So first we'll begin by singing our Kesha Vrat Kirtans. One second, let me just... Oh, and something just I should mention is I don't know so well what is but His Grace what is it, Pankaj Jangri Prabhu. Today he just left this world to continue his glorious seva to Srila Prabhupada and especially to Panchatattva and all the Thakurji. I don't actually know him, know so much about him, but I've just, because I've just been, in the Mat or in for so long or in Gurukul, but I've seen, now that I've been connecting with so many devotees from ISKCON, I see he's been one of the most loved devotees in ISKCON I've seen, really. I just see in people's homes, I see framed pictures of him, and all the time on Facebook I see posts about him and pictures of him. Just all throughout the year I see stuff like that. And so this must be such a difficult time for so many people. For him, there's no difference. He's just continuing on his service to Srila Prabhupada. But the separation from all the devotees, it must be so difficult. And also, just yesterday, the Acharya of Sri Chaitanya Gauḍīya Math, who is the last sannyasi disciple of Srila Bhaktivedānta Madhava Goswami Maharaj, he also left. What is his name? Is Srimad Bhakti Bhushan Bhagavat Maharaj. So also all devotees in Chaitanya Gauḍīya Math must be experiencing so much separation. These 2 past days have been really intense days. So anyhow, I offer my respects to all of them and also to all the devotees who have been so much connected with them and are affected, and who are feeling so much separation from them. I just offer my pranam to all these devotees also. All right. Gangeya champeya tare vininde roche pravaha snapitatma vrinde bandhu kabandhu dyuti divya vaso vrinde namaste charanara vindam bimbadarode tvaramanda hasya nasagramukta dyuti depitase avichitra ratna bharana shriyade vrinde namaste charanara vindam samasta vaikunta shiro manushri krishnasya vrindavana dhanya dhanya. Bhanti vibhushamana vrinde namaste charanara vindam tadiya jutena nikunjayunor adyutkayoke livilasa siddhi tatso bhagam kena niruchatam tadvrinde namaste charanara vindam rasabhilasho pasatishta vrindavane tvaresham grisarojaseva labhya pumsam kripaya tavaiva vrinde namaste charanara vindam tam kirtase sattva-tantra virbir lila bhidhana kila krishna shaktis tavaiva murtis tulasi nriloke vrinde namaste charanara vindam bhaktya vihina aparadha lakshya ikshiptashtakama ditarangamade kripa maitam sharanam prapana vrinde namaste charanara vindam vrindashtakamya shrinuyat patirva vrindavanadesha padabja bringa saprapya vrindavana nityavasam tat prema sevam lavate kritartha vrinde namaste charanara vindam vrinde namaste charanara vindam jaya vrinda devi vrinda devi jaya tulsi maharani jaya vrinda devi tulsi maharani jaya vrinda devi. Shri Keshavashtakam by Srila Rupa Goswami. And just let me check, see everything's okay with sound. All right, I think so. Nava Priyaka Manjari Rachita Karnapura Shriyam Vinidratara Malati Kalita Shekare Nojvala Tarojvasita yuddhika Kratita valguvaikakshakam Raje vijayinam bhaje Vipina deshata keshavam Vishangi manikastane Pranata shringi pingekshane Mridanga mukhi dhumale Shabaliham Sivangshi Priye Iti Sasurabhikulam Taralamavayantam Muda Vraje Vijayinam Vaje Vipina Deshata Keshava Khana Pranaya Meturan Madhura Narma Goshti Kala Vilasayan Milan Vivida Vesha Vidyotina Sakena Kila Saraya Patishuhasayan Tangira Vraje Vijayinam Vaje Vipina Deshata Keshava Shamambukanika Vali Taravilida Gandantara Samuda Giri Dhatugir Palikita Charupantram Pura Udancharali Mandali Tuti Vidam Pivakralaka Braje Vijayinam Bhaje Vipina Deshata Keshava Avatāra Vali Vilokanotkanthaya Nathat Kura Putanchalar Alogubir Bhuvam Bindatim Kalena Dhavala Ghata Lagu Nirvartayantam Pura Vraje Vijayinam Bhaje Vipina Deshata Keshava Padankatati Birvaram Virachayantam Advashriyam Chalattarala Naichiki Nichaya Doli Dhumra Sraja Marula Hari Chanchali Krita Dukula Chudanchala Vraje Vijayinam Bhaje Vipina Deshata Keshava Ilasa Muralikala Dhani Birula Sanmanasa Shanara Kila Ballavi Pulakayantamantar Vihe Muhur Vidadatam Hridi Pramuditancha Goshteshware Vraje Vijayinam Bhaje Vipina Deshata Keshavam Upekta Pati Sundari Tati Virabhira Vyarchita Smitankura Vitar Natarapanga Bangishatai Stanastavaka Sanchara Nayana Chanchari Kanchala Vraje Vijayinam Bhaje Vipina Deshata Keshava Idam Nikhila Pallavi Kula Mahotsavolasana Kramena Kilaya Puman Patati Shushtu Padashtaka Tamujvala Diyam Sada Nija Padara Vindadvaye Ratim Dada Chanchalam Sukayatar Vishaka Saka Vraje Vijayinam Bhaje Vipina Deshata Keshavam Vraje Vijayinam Bhaje Vipina Deshata Keshavam Vraje Vijayinam Bhaje Vipina Deshata Keshavam Jaya Keshavadev, 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 Jaya Keshavadev, Jaya Keshavadev, Jaya Keshavadev, Keshavadev, Jaya Keshavadev. Alright, so now we are going to read, I was thinking maybe the next 3 days we can read part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this article by Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Svāmī Prabhupāda called Karunaya Avatīrna Kalo, the most compassionate avatar of Kali Yuga. I've actually read this once before. I can't remember when I read it, but I read it on Facebook once before. But anyhow, yeah, we can, over the next 3 days, we'll read this. Let me just check the comments really quick. Dandavat Pranam Sunanda Didi, Gargaraj, Rohini Dulal Prabhu, Raseshwari Mataji, Antaryami Das. Haribol, Dandavat Pranam to all of you. Okay, and Srila Prabhupada wrote this, what year? I think it was 1956. We'll see at the end. He wrote this for my Param Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Keshav Goswami Maharaj, his magazine, which is Gauḍīya Patrikā. Srila Prabhupada is one of the editors for that magazine. So this is translated by Rays of The Harmonist for the first time in English. Srila Rupa Goswami is the confidential servant of Sri Gaura Sundar, the most munificent avatar who mercifully appeared in the age of Kali. Karunaya Avatīrna Kalo. Who but such an intimate servant can understand which mood appears in the heart of Mahaprabhu, at what moment, and how that mood augments the Hladini Shakti, the internal pleasure potency that resides there? No one has the power to understand the deep and diverse pastimes of Sriman Mahaprabhu without bathing in the dust of the lotus feet of such an antaranga, such an intimate internal associate, like Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu always prayerfully contemplated the lotus feet of those internal devotees, and in this way he proceeded in his service of glorifying Mahaprabhu without the slightest obstruction. He concludes every chapter of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita with Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pare Jar Ash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishna Das, praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always aspiring for their mercy. I, Krishnadas, narrate the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We will understand the transcendental pastimes of Sri Gaura Sundar only when we receive the blessings of Sri Rupa and Raghunath. For this reason, Srila Rupa Goswami benedicted all jivas. Anarpita charim chirat karunaya avatirna kalo, karunaya avatirna kalo, samarpaitum unato jvala rasang sabhakti shriyam, haripurata sundara dyuti kadamba sandipita, Sadar Hridaya Kandare Spurato Vasachinandana. May the son of Srimati Sachi Devi, Shri Gaur Hari, forever manifest spontaneously within the innermost core of your heart. Adorned with the radiant splendor of molten gold, he is Avatirna, he is descended in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow upon the world that which has not been given for a very long time. The beauty of his own brilliantly radiant Ujjala Prem Ras Bhakti, service in the highest mellow of amorous love. One second. I just want to copy this translation. We're working on Gurudev's documentary right now, and this is a nice translation. Just sending it. 1 second. There. Okay. Oops. Okay. Accomplish this task. Karunaya avatirna kalo. What kindness Sri Sachinandan Hari Gaur Sundar has shown the jivas overwhelmed by the age of Kali. Sorry, let me reread that. What kindness Sri Gaur Sundar Hari Gaur Sundar has shown the jivas overwhelmed by the age of Kali by mercifully descending at this time. The people of the world, however, are unable to comprehend his magnanimity, even today. Therefore, to assist us in understanding his purpose of descending, Sri Gaur Sundar himself made a prediction and liberally ordered the residents of Bharat, India, to accomplish this task. And there's a footnote here at prediction. Let's see. Achajata nagaradigram sarvata prachara hoive mor nam. My name will be preached throughout every town and village on earth. So that was Mahaprabhu's prediction. Bharata bhumite hoila manusha janma jar, janma sarthak kori koro para upakar. Anyone who has taken a human birth in the land of India should make his life successful by striving for the highest benefit of all others. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila 941. And boy, did Srila Prabhupada live up to that. All the acharyas in the line of Srila Rupa Goswami have endeavored tirelessly to inform everyone of this order of Mahaprabhu by writing unprecedented literatures. Commanded by Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur, Om Vishnupad Srila Bhaktivedānta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada proved most effective in his attempts to do this. If his qualified disciples had protected his line of thought and tried to inform the world about Sriman Mahaprabhu, maybe by now they would have successfully preached the message of Sri Gaur Sundar in all corners of the globe. What nectar there is in the message of Sri Gaur Sundar. This is what was burning in Srila Prabhupada before he came to the West. This desire to fulfill this order. And you can see it in this article that he's writing. What nectar there is in the message of Sri Gaur Sundar. The educated sector of today's society is most curious to learn about this. In this regard, it is worth noting the words of our respected Dr. Sri Yuta Kalidas Nagar. Our commendable godbrother and barrister, Dr. Samvidananda Das, was present one day during a discussion at Dr. Nagar's house. Sri Kalidas Nagar practically ridiculed us by saying that a certain mission does not have anything worthy to say, yet its members are preaching their message all over the world. But we are still unable to propagate such a grand message of Sriman Mahaprabhu beyond the borders of Bengal. We should realize that this is due to our great disqualification that we have not preached this message out of Bengal. If we compete with the Jati Goswamis, the caste Goswamis, taking pride in establishing a mere 3 or 4 mats and temples and collecting a few disciples and servants, the message of Mahaprabhu will not be broadcast. Unless we collectively endeavor to ensure that the most munificent incarnation Sri Gaur Sundar manifests in the heart of each and every jiva stricken by Kali, this task will remain unaccomplished. These were the final words of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. He told us to work cooperatively to preach the message of Rupa and Raghunath. Our misfortune is that we have strived to follow all of his instructions except this one. The first step in attaining transcendental knowledge. In a Sa-Artha Varshini commentary on Bhagavad Gita, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on the verse Vyavasayatmika Buddhir 241 as follows. Oh man, should I do it? Iha bhakti yoga vyavasayatmika buddhir ekaiva. Mama Shrimar Guru Upadesham Bhagavat Kirtan Smarana Charana Paricharanadi Kametar Eva Mama Sadhanam Etar Eva Mama Sadhyam Etar Eva Mama Jivatu Sadhana Sadhya Dashayotsaktum Ashakyam Etar Eva Me Kamyam Etar Eva Me Karyam Etar Anyat Name Karyam Napyala Abhilashanyam Swapne Pitatra Sukam Astu Dukam Bastu Sangsaro Nasyastu Nashyatu Va Na Nashyatu Tatra Mama Kapi Na Kshatriya Evam Nishchayatmika Budhir Kaitava Bhaktav Eva Sambhavet Yar Uktam Tato Bhajetamam Bhaktya Shradhalur Drida Nishchaya Iti. That's kind of fun, actually. Okay, this means, on the path of bhakti, our sole sadhan is to follow with resolute intelligence the instruction we have received from Sri Guru Padma. With fixed resolve, we should endeavor to execute whatever order we have received from him regarding Bhagavat Kirtan. This is both our sadhan, our practice, and our sadhya, our goal. And our sole duty is to organize our entire life around trying to follow that instruction. We are never to neglect the order of Guru Padma, either in the stage of sadhan or when we have attained our ultimate goal. Our sole desire in life is to serve Sri Guru Padma according to his desire. We should have no other aspiration even in our dreams. If in following the order of Guru Padma we encounter happiness or distress, let it be. Our material life may be destroyed or may not, but whatever the case, so be it. Either way, we will neither lose nor gain. Our one and only duty is to serve our spiritual master. To be fixed in this understanding is characteristic of a resolute intelligence and firm faith. Service to Sri Guru and Bhagavan performed with this resolve constitutes bhakti. All else we do in the name of bhakti is simply sense gratification. Wow, that was powerful. This is Srila Prabhupada's Nishta in Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. When Aurangzeb went to instruct his son Muhammad about devotion to his forefathers, Muhammad plainly said, Must I learn about devotion to my forefathers from you? Aurangzeb had imprisoned his own father, Shah Jahan, and usurped his throne. So naturally, Muhammad was not ready to hear from him any instruction on ancestral respect. When Vallabhata declared his own commentary on the Bhagavat to be superior to that of Sridhar Swami, Shri Gaurasundar replied, Prabhu hasi kohe Swami na mane je jan, Veshara bhitare tare koriye ganan. Smiling, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I consider that person a prostitute who does not accept the Swami to be an authority. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antilila 7.115. And here, Swami is how you say husband in Bengali. And so, Sridhar Swami, it's also referring, So somebody who doesn't accept one's husband to be an authority is a prostitute. And also it's referring to Sridhar Swami. Bhagavad Gita instructs us that worshipping the Acharya Upasana, is the first principal step in attaining transcendental knowledge. Therefore, one who tries to attain the position of Guru by disregarding the Acharyas and Sri Guru's instructions will never be successful in that position. The flow of mercy. In Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, Sriman Nityananda Prabhu broke open the dam that blocked the ocean of mercy and began to distribute prem to any and everyone. The society of goldsmiths and Saptagram were harassed by the artificial caste system of Balal Sen. They were of the lowest caste, yet Sriman Nityananda Prabhu went from door to door and delivered them all. Murka Vanikukul Kori Len Udhar. He delivered the foolish society of goldsmiths. Each and every person has the right to perform bhakti. One's caste and dynasty are of no consideration. In this mood, Sriman Nityananda Prabhu bestowed prem upon all. Later on, the so-called caste Goswamis claimed that they were the sole representatives of Nityananda Prabhu's dynasty, thus again blocking the flow coming from the ocean of mercy. But then, the second manifestation of Nityananda himself and the embodiment of Gauranga's teachings, Gauravani, Om Vishnupad Shishimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupāda, he broke open that dam and made the river of pure bhakti flow in the same way it did in Sriman Mahaprabhu's time. Srila Prabhupada ordered his qualified disciples to come together and preach the message of Sri Rupa and Raghunath as he had done. He ordered them to come together and preach the message as he had done. But now, for some reason, the current of bhakti is again, unfortunately, coming to a standstill. We should all be diligent to ensure that the river of Srila Bhaktivinoda's conceptions never stops flowing. The Dark Age of Kali. Srimad Bhagavatam describes how the rishis headed by Shaunak assembled at Naimisharanya, and according to the line of thoughts that is appropriate for Vaishnavas, determines the obligatory duties of the jivas stricken by the age of Kali. Seeing the terrible condition of the jivas in Kali Yuga, Shaunak and other rishis said to Sutta Goswami, Prayenal Payusha Sabhya Kalavasmin Yuge Jana Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagya Hupadruta. O learned one, the lifespan of the general person in Kali Yuga is short. Furthermore, he is lazy, lacking resolve in spiritual life, less intelligent, troubled by various obstacles, and unfortunate, berefta sadhusanga. In addition, he is afflicted by the threefold miseries. Srimad Bhagavatam 1:110. কিছু বলবেন? আমি এখন লাইভ ক্লাস করছি। এখন লাইভ ক্লাস চলছে। ঠিক আছে তো? আমি তো খাইতে আসছিলাম। In the age of Kali, all the jivas to ki chona chot lagbe. Bhujia আছে। কোথায় আছে? hara রঙের এটা এটা খুলো। Okay. In the age of Kali, all the jivas have short lives, are lazy, and possess an intelligence that is riddled with sinful desire. They are always agitated by obstacles and troubled by sickness and lamentation. The rishis were wondering how, in such a condition, the jivas could attain true welfare. Nija. Sorry, guys. They're always. They are always agitated by obstacles and troubled by sickness and lamentation. The rishis are wondering how, in such a condition, the jivas could attain true welfare. The terrible condition of the human race in Kali Yuga has been described in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sri Shukadev Goswami told Parikshit, as the days in Kali Yuga pass by, religion, truthfulness, cleanliness, forgiveness, compassion, lifespan, and memory will gradually diminish. We are gradually realizing this. In Kali Yuga, a person will adhere to a religion in name only. One who tells the truth will not be able to fulfill his belly. Cleanliness will not exist at all because public places, hotels, restaurants, and shops will be full of the most degenerate people with the vilest tendencies. The merit of forgiveness will be forgotten. One who is forgiving will be considered timid or cowardly. Not even members of the same family will be forgiving with each other. The quality of compassion will be found only in fairy tales. Longevity will not exist anywhere, especially in India, where people will only live for 75 years. Memory will be limited to knowledge acquired through books. In Kali Yuga, the status of one's birth, conduct, and good qualities will be measured by one's affluence. A person with wealth will belong to the highest caste and be considered to bear all good qualities. No one will inquire as to the identity of one's mother and father, for at one's marriage, one's kul, one's family caste, one's gotra, family line, and those who gather as witnesses to the marriage will not be considered important.
All social activities such as giving and receiving, buying and selling, eating and feeding others, and communicating will consist solely of lying and cheating. The cause of love between male and female will be based on the expertise in lovemaking, style of dress, their decorative ornaments, bodily strength, and external beauty. The Grihastha ashram would be only entails the free, unrestricted meeting of men and women. A person will be a Brahmin simply by wrapping a 2-paisa thread around his neck. It will not be necessary to scrutinize him to see if he has the qualities of a Brahmin, or if those of a Kshatriya or Vaishya. Sight of this thread, wearing saffron cloth and carrying a stick will make one a sannyasi, and donning white cloth or pants will denote one as a grihastha. There will be no need for any actual qualification. Only those with money will receive justice. Oh my God, is that true? For example, you won't be able to enter the courts without first paying the fee of money-stamped paper and a lawyer. What to speak of further court proceedings? One will be known as a scholar if, on the strength of his powerful voice, he can lecture for 3 to 4 hours. One who is poor will be considered a ruffian and a thief, and the most honored sadhu will be the one who exhibits the most arrogance and self-importance. One who travels a long distance to take bath in the Ganga at Haridwar will be considered greatly pious. But such piety will not be attributed to one who takes bath in the Ganga flowing the other city, or even through one's own locality. 800,000 people gathered in Allahabad to take bath during the Kumbh Mela. They had not read Srila Narottam Das Thakur's prayer, which says, Tirtha Jatra Parishram Keval Manera Brahm. Going on pilgrimage is simply a useless labor. It is only another kind of satisfaction for the bewildered mind. One will look charming if he grows long hair. Nowadays, you can find even young boys with long hair. No matter how little they eat and no matter how much their faces shriveled up, they still grow their hair long and try to look beautiful. The unfortunate and destitute people of Kali Yuga will use soaps and cosmetics in their attempts to look fair and handsome. A person who can eat to the full satisfaction of his belly will think that he has achieved the fourfold goals of life, namely dharma, religiosity, artha, wealth, calm, sense enjoyment, and moksha, liberation from material bondage. He will not consider it necessary to attain anything more. In the age of Kali, people will think that if they are able to feed their wives, they will have achieved the expertise King Daksha attained by performing 5 sacrifices. Putting a dog on the throne. There will be no practical means by which one can make a sacrificial animal. Dharma, religious activities, and seva, service, will exist in name only. People will be bound to the practices of a so-called religious tradition, motivated by their public image as a religious person and reputation of their guru. Whether they are religious or not, the world will be filled with people of this mentality. The strongest among them will come forward posing as political leaders themselves. By cheating the unfortunate, less intelligent masses, they will accumulate votes and thus become rulers. Sometimes a pot of milk hanging from a wall may fall accidentally, and a cat will think herself fortunate. But what benefit can these low-minded rulers bestow upon the people by such power? Hitopadesh states, Swayadi kriyate raja tatkim nashnatupanaham. If a dog-eater becomes the king, can he give up his nature? Can one ever give up his nature? What benefit is there in making a dog sit on a throne? He will not give up his nature of eating dried flesh. In the same way, it is sure and certain that those who present themselves as rulers, having painted themselves as leaders with the color of popular vote, will ultimately act according to their acquired nature. Which scriptures related to maintaining their citizens have they read, that their hearts will break for the suffering of the people? While giving grandiose lectures, they will pretend that their heart is breaking, but at the time of action, they will only loot and plunder. Andar Nagari. While giving grandiose lectures, they will pretend that their heart is breaking, but at the time of action, they will only loot and plunder. Andar Nagari Bakuba Raja Taka Shera Bhaji Taka Shera Kaja. The king will be as blind and degraded as the citizens. In this way, a picture of the age of Kali has been painted. Seeing this, we can understand why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Sri Ramananda, Varnashram dharma eho bahya, age koho ar. Varnashram dharma is external. Please speak something beyond this. How can the people of Kali Yuga practice Varnashram dharma? For them, everything is in jeopardy. Translated from Sri Gauḍīya Patrikā, Year 7, Issue 1, March 1956. See the urgency that Srila Prabhupada had before he came to the West. Especially this part of, this is his compassion, his melting compassion, seeing the condition of all the Jews, fulfill this order of Srila Bhaktivedānta Saraswati Thakur. This article is so important to really, understand Srila Prabhupada's glories and his mood, his feeling of his coming to the West. Unless this is the instructions that Srila Prabhupada gave his life to fulfill. More than his life, his everything. Unless we collectively endeavor to ensure that the most munificent incarnation, Sri Gaur Sundar, manifests in the heart of each and every jiva stricken by Kali, this task will remain unaccomplished. These were the final words of Srila Bhaktivedānta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. He told us to work cooperatively to preach the message of Rupa and Raghunath. Our misfortune is that we have strived to follow all of his instructions except this one. Oh God, and this part was so beautiful. Anyhow, I'm going to do a little kirtan, and then tomorrow we'll read this part 2 of this series. This one. Where is it? This. Oops, 1 second. Come on. Anyhow, the most compassionate avatar, part 2. The perversion of Varnashram. What is it? There's no hope for demoniac Varnashram Dharma. Mahaprabhu's munificence, following and helping others follow, are one and the same. His simple and pure message. Offering without love. I'm excited to be reading these with you all. Okay, let's... plug this in. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Jaya Sachinanda Jaya Gora Hare Sachinanda Jaya Gora Hare Jaya Sachinanda Jaya Gora Hare Sachinanda Jaya Gora Hare Jaya Giri Raja Jaya Govardhana Giri Raja Jaya Govardhana Jaya Giri Raja Govardhana Giri Raja Jaya Govardhana Jaya Gurudeva 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 Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva 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 Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtara Shatashmad Shila Bhaktivedānta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shila Gurudev ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtara Shatashmad Shila Bhaktivedānta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtara Shatashmad Shila Bhaktivedānta Swāmī Maharaj Shila Prabhupāda ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtara Shatashmad Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtara Shatashmad Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Nitil Vishnu Mahabhagavat Shila Bhaksharas Babaji Maharaj ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patadash Raghunath Shara Gosai Prabhu ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai Namachay Shila Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaura Mandal Braja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kund ki Jai Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi ki Jai Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi ki Jai Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki Jai Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki Jai
Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Oh, and Shri Pankajangri Prabhu ki jai. Shri Bhakti Bhushan Bhagavat Maharaj ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shinitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindaya Tulsidevaya Priyaya Keshavashacha. Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha. Vacha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sandubhya Evacha. Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandava pranams. Thank you for joining me. So see you tomorrow for part 2 of this amazing series. Karunaya Vatirna Kalo. Karunaya Vatirna Kalo. Right, Hari Bol.